rather, or is it round 10 now? I don't know our calendar. I'm a professional. I'm not a professional. I don't get paid for it. Yeah, it is round 10. So thank you for that. Yeah, welcome to round 10. A damp Hungary. Of course, looking like intermediate conditions here for qualifying as we're just about getting underway as everybody's loaded in. And that countdown does reset. So should be a very interesting race here today. Of course, season recently been really dominated by Wingish in the McLaren. Of course, just the past couple rounds we have had some nice mixed conditions races, but I believe this is our first wet quali of the season in Group 1. I believe we did have a wet quali in Group 2 at one point. I believe that was Silverstone, but should be very, very interesting. Of course, Monaco Walls always provides definitely some interesting racing. And as our first commentator, or as our first driver comes out of the box, meanwhile, that's Leaks making his way out on the track. Of course, I'm joined once again by James back up here in the booth. Of course, haven't seen him since the break. James, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to finally be back after I had a few things coming up in life.
Yeah, of course, probably coming back for one of what should be the better race on the calendar. Of course, 17 drivers in the lobby at the moment. Should be getting an 18 as well. But wet quali, always interesting. Rain being the great equalizer that it is, and already we got a Mercedes round. I believe that's QDXC already round at turn 1. I believe any damage on that Mercedes. No damage on the Mercedes. But again, as I was saying, going to be very interesting. Of course, 16 turns here at the Hungary circuit. In the dry is going to be looking for lap time here in Italy. We'd be looking at around probably low 116s, likely into the 115s, rather comfortably for a lot of the front runners. Coming around to start his first lap. Of course, got the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Got on right out the exit there. In the blast down into turn 1, of course, hard braking, and then have a really important traction zone. And actually, DRS seems to be enabled as that rear wing does open up on that McLaren. So, despite the damp conditions, we do have DRS.
That's very interesting on this track, and as you can see, it is raining, so that's very, very interesting. But
as Waite's making his way now through, I believe that is turn number 5, and into this very tight chicane of 6 and 7. Of course, going to slow you right down. Of course, you got get on the power through this more faster flowing section. Is almost past the threshold of his Waits. Of course, coming out of I believe it's turn 13 now, and through the second time marker, that's a 1 minute .06. Of course, there is our 18th driver in Viperize as Waits making his way through the final couple of corners now. Going to be coming out of turn 16, of course, just past the pit lane there on the inside. And here he comes in line. So it will be the McLaren setting the benchmark for everybody to chase. And that benchmark is a 125.598. And so everybody behind going to be chasing Unar on his debut, making his way around. I believe we got one of the Alfa Romeos coming to line. That's Pingy with a mistake early in his lap. I believe it's one of the Alpines coming to line next to start a lap. But his teammate Dodoligo comes to the line. That lap time of 126.4. And a couple of drivers also behind his Wingish already with a 123.3, so that's well clear already. So it's currently a McLaren 1-2 as a couple of other drivers looking to put times on the board.
yeah, both Red Bulls as well on their lap times, one behind each. Well, both of them very close together, but I think that was Visa coming into the pit lane, so I don't know what happened to him on his lap. Bono goes second, Game James third now.
and VDB Ali as well goes fifth fastest. Is that Vasel on his is gonna retire? I believe that's in the pit lane. So I don't know what happened there to the Red Bull, but I think just not looking to, potentially just not looking to set a lap here. So that's already one Red Bull out in qualifying. Jojo, meanwhile, 1 minute 0. Alright, so he'll be looking to move on. Only in the second Alpha Tower, he also went second quickest. That's a 123.7 him. As Waits as well puts in a 124.9. So McLaren and Alpha Tower currently battling it out at the front.
Seems like it. I think everybody has gone for quite a few laps as Jojo goes 7th fastest. Pingy as well goes up into 3rd. And there's a spin by Haas.
It was Thomas D on an outlap, so I think he was just still getting those tires prepped and in the right scenario and just popped it a little bit, so hopefully he didn't put those intermediate tires to get a nice lap time set as he looks to get underway. Of course, a couple of drivers looking to come in. Wingish dives into the pits, Oni looking to stay out and keep some heat in those tires. Hingy doing the same. Most drivers, I think, looking to stay out because I think with inners, sometimes it's a little bit better to just kind of keep going a little bit. Obviously, tire wear works a little bit differently in this game, and drawing the line isn't quite the same as it is in real life on a game such as GT7. As Moikuli in the Ferrari goes third quickest. One more good showing there from the Ferrari. The racing line really doesn't dry out quite so much. So of course, it might be better to go low fuel, but of course you want maybe a little more laps to keep into those tires and them right where you want them. That weather can sometimes give you that advantage. Meanwhile, jumping over to Bono, go for it.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
Okay.
I can hear an echo from of myself. I don't know where it's coming from though.
Well, hopefully that improves then. I don't hear it quite too much. Bono coming out of the final corner. He was up 2/10, so that rear end looking really skittish. Out of the corner, he's actually going to lose time in the final sector. He lost about half a second there as gaining James as well with a little bit of a power slide there out of the final corner. I think really just lighten those tires up. Let's see. Is anybody on an improvement? Oga's, meanwhile, in that Aston Martin down at the bottom, he's actually looked to go out on the wet compound tires. So we'll have to see if that strategy pays off. I'd imagine if DRS is still enabled, that those wet tires are still considered slower than the intermediates, but who knows? Of course, there is the Ferrari behind Ogas of Moikuli, who also is missing a front wing, so there could be something to that there. Got a couple of drivers looking to put laps in. Of course, across under 10 minutes left to go in qualifying. It is still Wingish with about a 4/10 advantage. Because Oni is right there. The Ferrari of Viperize, I believe, diving out of the way there. But of course, a couple drivers trying to see his laps, if anybody. It doesn't seem that anybody is improving, which is a bit surprising. Owner, meanwhile, he competitive sector 1. But has invalidated his lap time. Of course, track limits here certainly going to be a little bit of a concern. Of course, very tight. Really can only can't go side by side too many places. The only really big overtaking spots, of course, being turns 1, turns 3, and maybe the run down to turn 14, which of course is right what we're seeing right here. So a couple of chances, and of course 35 laps of racing. So still plenty of time to get those done, but Hungary certainly a difficult spot to overtake, and of course we'll have to see what the weather brings for the race as well.
Yeah, from what I'm understanding, I think we are having a dry race from what I have been told by Viperize.
Okay, so let's see, but meanwhile, the current pole sitter of Winch up 3/10 through the first 2 sectors. So that McLaren, of course, as we've seen in back-to-back wins now, is just really, really dominant in these intermediate conditions. Of course, coming out of the final corner now, that McLaren absolutely on rails. Here he comes using all that track on the exit, and he'll come to the line and he'll extend that gap almost 5/10, and it's a 122.9 from the McLaren currently on provisional pole. And so we'll have to see if anybody has the chance to do anything about that. But with Wingish's dominance recently, I certainly doubt anybody having quite a big chance at going after that pole position.
On this
QDXC
isn't really having a very good first sector. Second, I don't know if it doesn't seem as fast as it could be. And it's only 1.2 seconds down, so he's gonna have to try again, but we'll see what he can do.
Meanwhile, QDXC in the Mercedes goes third quickest, so he jumps a fair bit up the order. Of course, waiting on to see what Ogus there down in that Aston Martin can do. Of course, the one driver currently on the wet compound of tire. Of course, had a bunch of drivers go in with about 8 minutes left to go in qualifying. But he's the only driver out there who opted for the wets, and it doesn't seem to be paying off, as that lap time looks rather slow, and he's actually going to dive into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think that was a very big gamble from him on his side, but I'm not too sure what his idea was with the wet tires, because it does not look like it's wet conditions. DRS still enabled though, so that's very interesting.
Jojo as well improved about a second on his previous lap. He's up into P4. Meanwhile, Wingish's teammate of Waits, he was up 2/10 in that first sector, but does seem to have lost a bit of time on the backside. That also might have been just on the previous lap, and this might be cooldown lap to get some ERS back. It does appear to be, as he's moving a bit slower. So nobody really on laps at the moment, except Gaming James, to be pushing fairly heavily. But otherwise, I think everybody diving into the pits for a fresh set of tires. And Gaming James actually 3/10 up already through the first sector. He is going to run wide there, but he won't invalidate. He's up about 3.5 now. So let's see how much time he can potentially gain in this final sector. Of course, got the two, the left and right hairpin turns still left to go, and of course has that Alpine just up ahead of him. So through that long right-hander now, keeping it really tight to the inside, and of course on the power down the pit straight. Can the Red Bull improve at all? That's flat for 7th, on about an improvement of half a second. So game.
As he just loses it as well.
And meanwhile, the Ferrari of Moikuli currently sitting P5, I believe, was up in the first 2 sectors and did put in a definite personal best second. And he's coming out of the final corner now. He's on the power, and down the pit straight he comes. That lap time puts him up into P2, so just ahead of the AlphaTauri of Oni, and is able to take at least provisional P2 away from the AlphaTauri for the moment. Of course, got a number of drivers coming out to start their outlaps as well. Ball is half a second up. He's out of the final corner. Can he join his teammate currently up in P3? Here he comes to the line. That lap time good enough for P8. So still a little way drift further up the pack, but it's certainly a solid improvement there. Pingy, meanwhile, currently sits P10. He's up almost 6/10 already in that first sector. So we'll have to keep an eye on the lap time of that Alfa Romeo. And Moikuli, that was a potential improvement there. We're going to jump on board with the driver that I just lost. Which was Pingy for a second. I just figured that out. Because he's making his way through Sector 2, got that obstacle that he might need to navigate across that second timing marker. He's up almost 9/10, so the Alfa Romeo really flying as we get later and later into these intermediate conditions. So just getting more comfortable with that compound of tire. Of course, one corner now left to go. And so we'll have to see, can Pingy jump up the order? And if so, by how much? Here comes out of the final corner DRS open on the back of that Alfa Romeo, and that lap time good enough for P5, an improvement of about 8.5 tenths.
Very nice lap from Pingu, and from second to fifth, it's very, very close. It could be anyone's game now. This is going to be the lap to get in, as this final lap is going to be the driest part of the race and where the rubber is on the track the most.
Yeah, that of course definitely is the definite advantage of this game, is that even with the wet conditions, the track does rubber in a little bit. So definitely, keep an eye on a couple of drivers. Keep an eye on both Aston Martins and the Red Bull of Vasel, of course, all on debut here. Oga's also venturing back out on those wets, and I think I don't think those tires. I don't think it's the right condition for those tires at all. Really just kind of banking on making it count in the race. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't understand his call with that. That's very confusing.
Waits, meanwhile, is going to be looking to, does also just dive, just about stays out of the way of that Ferrari. Yeah, Oga's, I think those tires are cooked. I think he's just trying to get them into the right window. Thomas D improved by over a second, but still sits P14 as he made a mistake on that first lap. VDV Ali matched his time through the first sector, so we'll have to see if he can improve. Trying to see if anybody else is on the lap. Jonah, meanwhile, improved 7 tenths up into P7, so that's a solid improvement from him. Of course, still time to get another lap in. QDXC is just getting underway. Oni is working his way through Sector 2. I think did make a mistake under power, so might have lost that lap. But of course, definitely going to be keeping eyes on Wingish, who of course still has time to set another lap and potentially continue to stretch that advantage. Oni not improving by a significant margin there. So, of course, this lap won't be improvement in QDXE. Hassan Jonah, of course, making his way around. Of course, still waiting to see that yellow flag go away to see just how much time is left in this qualifying session. I'd imagine not much. And, of course, waiting for that Alpatard to get out of the way in less than a minute to go here. So we'll have to see if anybody can improve at all. Of course, Wingish, I think, still going slower. Viperize retired from the session, so he is out. So we'll jump on board with the current provisional pole sitter of Wingish as he crosses that first sector marker. Just about matched that first sector lap time on his first lap. There's 30 seconds now left to go in qualifying. That's Spawn Haas at the exit of turn 3. So then we'll be proving that's either Jonah or Thomas. Certainly disappointing there. The other McLaren of Waits as well goes very deep. That was at turn number 5, so he won't improve. But of course, Wingish making his way through the second sector. Your provisional pole sitter up a tenth and a half, still on first lap time. So of course, Wingish just incredibly dominant in these conditions. Both Aston Martins as well, not setting a lap time, so they are out. Here comes Wingish out of the final couple of corners. He'll be the first to set a final lap time. So here he comes out of the final corner now. And this driver's so dominant in the wet. The Finn goes 3.5 tenths quicker. That's a 122.5 of the rest of the pack. It's one of the Mercedes to the line next. That's going to be VDV Ali. He's up 5 tenths. That's in P7. Oni out of the session. Moy Cooley, meanwhile, to the line. That lap time good enough for P2. So he'll lock that up, at least for the moment. QDXC slightly improving. Pingy is down. Waits is wide and he's out. Next to the line, though, will be the Alpine of JoJo, currently sitting in P8 out of the final corner and to the line. That lap time good enough for P3. He gains over half a second. Can anybody go after him? QDXC up a quarter of a second. One of the Alpha Tauri coming to the line next. That's Bono. He won't be able to improve. It's the Haas of Jonah as well, not able to improve. But here comes QDXC. Cuppers now. The Red Bull diving into the pit lane and getting out of the way. Can QDXC make any jumps up the order? Of course, he was up a little bit in those first 2 sectors. He'll come to the line, and he'll start third just ahead of JoJo. And so that, I believe, will be your starting grid. So the English, once again, with a dominant showing on pole position. It'll be more Cooley in P2, QDXC third, followed by JoJo, Oni, Pingy, Waits, Ellie, Joner, and Jamie are your top 10.
That was another strong, what's the word? Domination from the McLaren driver Wingish. His teammate down in 7th place. What can he do in the race? But McLaren seems to be better here.
Of course, we'll have to see how this race continues because in the dry conditions, again, over the past 2 weeks, Moy Cooley has been able to stick with Wingish and at least keep him honest in the race. So if it does stay dry, like we think it might, we could very well see a very interesting 35-lap battle between the two drivers, but of course Wingish taking pole position by almost a second, and then much tighter as you get down the order. I think P2 down to P12 separated by, or P12 down to P13 separated by about a second. Active lap times, but of course in the dry conditions, I definitely expect the race to racing a whole lot closer. Of course, if you got any predictions for the race coming up, definitely feel free to throw them in chat. Of course, we'll have a little bit of time before the race gets underway, as we get a little bit of loading time, as well as some time to get set. So definitely feel free to throw in the chat what you think is going to happen in this race. Maybe a little bit further down the order, considering the dominance of Wingish as of late. Of course, if you have any whoever you're rooting for, any predictions that you might have, definitely feel free to throw them in chat. While you're down there, definitely feel free to hit like and subscribe, as we do have a nice, bright and sunny Hungary in here.
Yeah, it's very nice to see the sunshine here in Hungary, as this track is a very nice racing track for overtakes and everything else.
Yeah, of course, again, not a lot of opportunities to get it done. Most of those overtakes are probably going to be down the pit straight and into that rather tight turn one. Of course, might see some moves also get done on the run down into turn 2, as you do get double DRS coming into the final corner, I believe, is where that detection point is. So we could see a little bit of DRS chicken get played at points in the race. We might see as well a couple of battles up into turn 3, but outside of that, definitely a challenging circuit to overtake. Turn 14 as well, not a bad overtaking spot, but very tight, really can't get more than 2 wide, and of course, definitely going to be interesting. As we go for 5 lights, and now we're on the way here in Hungary. It seems that the McLaren getting bogged down a little. Here's Moy Cooley. Actually, that's a solid start. Jojo up into 3rd, and as they pan out and run into turn 1, that's going to be Moy Cooley, I think, pausing that contact, and then with the AlphaTauri is owning off into the grass. But it seems that everybody getting away all right. It's Wingish already with an advantage. Pingy and Ali side by side. Pingy looking to get both Mercedes in one go.
Oh, huge crash at the back.
In the middle, yellow flags. Big crash at the back. That's an Aston Martin and an Alfa Romeo. Joner getting a severe penalty for a collision there with Ogus. Dodoligo as well with contact. But both cars staying in the race. But, seems that there's some casualties here. Of course, can definitely take a look at
Jojo.
Choices as Jojo, I think the big twitch there is going to lose a bunch of positions there in that tight and twisty sector 2. Here comes Waits looking to the inside. 6 as far as Jojo will drop for the moment. But Wingish already with a 1 second advantage out at the front, and it's Moy Cooley trying to chase him down in P2 on QDXC in 3rd.
Yeah, this is going to be a very good battle with Omnij and John Wick, as I think Omnij is just going to try and maybe have a look down the inside. He's going to go down the inside of turn 1.
It's going to be later. Yep. Sorry to cut you off there, but yeah, late on the brakes. Good move there, even without the assistance of DRS, for that AlphaTauri to gain another position.
Yeah, very nice move down in turn 1, and without DRS, just the power of those soft compound tyres that he is on at the moment.
Yeah, of course, with it being a dry qualifying session, we've got probably a much wider choice of tires and strategies for this race. Soft to medium, definitely a possibility. Those mediums are going to be good for, they're going to be in a decent enough operating window for about, especially with the high downforce, maybe, drivers are going to be feeling it a little bit less just because of how much more they're going to be relying on aero as opposed to other portions.
Oh, he's going to go down the inside contact.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. Down to the T14, Jojo's going to try to sneak it back up the inside, but there's not a lot of space there. The AlphaTauri is able to take 2 positions flat, move up into the 6 as we start lap number 3.
Another very bold move from the AlphaTauri driver, but a very good move. And I think that was John Wick getting passed by the Red Bulls. Well, one of them at the moment, he may have a chance to fight back, but he's just not able to get under the power. The OS is now available.
Yeah, it seems like McLaren just not really running maybe a little bit too much downforce, maybe trying to get a little bit too much out of qualifying. And because of that, this early race pace is suffering. It's getting James right on the back. They're not able to quite get that move done.
Yeah, it just seemed like that McLaren doesn't have that pace advantage in those straight lines, as I think James is going to want to get past this McLaren as quickly as he can. And there's another twitch from John Wick through this middle part of the track, which has caused a few problems for a few drivers as of now.
Yeah, of course, tire temperatures could certainly be a concern as of right now, especially with it being so different, with the conditions being so different how they were in qualifying. Potentially some drivers looking to try and find that middle ground with tire pressures, and it just not quite working out. But of course, Gaming James is going to have DRS advantage here, as Jojo, I think, with a big twitch. He's all the way out by the pit wall, and is going to get passed by the Red Bull of Vasil. Gaming James looks to go down the inside. It looked to be almost contact there between James and Wick, but it seems that they both got out of it okay. And by the time to exit of turn 1, Gaming James is through and up in the P9.
Yeah, that McLaren just does not seem to be fast in that straight line speed, so it's going to be interesting to see what the McLaren driver can do from the pit lane to change any front wings, or what he can do, because this is going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and of course up at the front, the good news for him, at least from a constructor's standing, is that his teammate at Wingish already with a 2-second edge up at the front, looking to continue to edge away. Of course, you can see Moikuli is there. QDXC, though, the first recipient of a 3-second time penalty, he's already starting to struggle a little bit, which is keeping nicely within track limits. But yeah, Wingish going to probably be looking to pull away.
Jojo.
Strategies, as that's a spun Alpine, that's Jojo, and that's actually bring out a safety car, and that was Owner, I think. Owner might get a penalty here from the game. We'll see. No, I think he's just about escaped it. Vasil going to dive into the pit lane. He's going to make a tire change, as will Jamie and Jojo. So 3 drivers looking to dive into the pit lanes for a free stop.
That's very interesting. Oh, both Alpines coming in. That's interesting. That's gonna...
Yes, potentially both of them looking to make the same call. Dodoligo also going to dive into the pit lane. Of course, got caught up in an early incident there. Definitely be interesting to see just what happened to bring out the safety car there. Maybe it was just maybe it just happened to be where Jojo's car got stopped on track. This will bring Dodoligo, Ogus, and Joner all back into the race. And this could also be really, really interesting. Could we see Vasil and Jojo potentially look to go to the end of the race on those hards? Certainly wouldn't be completely out there to try and pull. It certainly would be a stint on those hard compound tires, even with a safety car, with one or more potential safety cars. But certainly is possible.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if those drivers can get them to the hard. No, on or cannot get them to the end of the race, otherwise that's just going to give him a disqualification. So it might be possible to get 30 laps out of those tyres, but they might be a little bit dead by the end of the race.
So, and you could see, this could be, great for those who look so soft or medium now, as this will open to extend soft tire stint. QDX going to dive into the pit lane, so he's going to drop towards the back. Is anybody going to follow him into the pit lane? I believe everybody else electing to stay out. So QDXC looking to dive into the pit lane and get off of that soft compounded tire early on in this race.
So he's chosen the hards.
Yeah, so he could be looking to go to the end. Ogus as well, looking to dive in, looking to get that stop in. And QDXC going to drop all the way down to P15. So not all the way to the back, but rather close. But does get that mandatory pit stop in, so we'll have to see how well that Mercedes does is getting back up the order.
So yeah, some people choosing to go onto the hard compound tires. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but it might work out, it might not.
Yeah, certainly a gamble here, and I think we're probably in a phase making another stop at this point would be both safer and easier, because I wouldn't be surprised if Vasel, Jojo, QDXC, and Ogus all do try to go to the end of this race on that compounded tire, that they'll get into significant puncture risk by that point. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see. Safety car may be in this lap. I think quickly Ogus can catch up to the field. We might actually get a late trigger of the safety car here, depending on how quickly that Aston Martin can catch the pack. Hopefully that doesn't cause too much chaos. Of course, we had a little bit of chaos on a restart last week at Australia. Let's see what happens.
I don't think it will be in next lap, not this lap now. Bit too late now. Oh no! Oh,
it will be in this lap. Yeah, as the Aston Martin did manage to get up to the tail of the field, so we are going to get back underway now. So we'll get back underway here on lap 7. Wingish looking at the whole goes now, and we're back to green flag conditions here at Hungary. And it's a decent jump for Wingish, who holds a 6/10 advantage, but a great jump from Pindy. He's going to get the edge. Mercuri with a big mistake. He's dropping down low positions. What happened to the Ferrari? There might be a technical issue with him.
he's dropping down even more. It looks like he's in like AI mode.
P7. He might be in AI mode, so he might have disconnected. Of course, that car not ghosting, at least from our perspective, but he might be in AI. He might be paused, actually. So he might not know we're back up, trying to fight back. So now it could turn into Wingish versus Pindy up here at the front. And yellow flags, that's for a spun McLaren. That is Waits dropping down the order. He's going to fall all the way to the field. So either a mistake or contact there on McLaren, and he's missing that right front wing end plate, so damage on the McLaren.
Yeah, not a very good start for a few people. Viprice trying to get past his Ferrari teammate, does so around the outside. This is very interesting to see what happened to Moix as he just keeps dropping down even more.
Yeah, it's really odd what's going on with that Ferrari.
Apparently
contact as that's an Alpine in the wall. That was that was Jojo with big damage, and that's going to bring in another safety car. I think the safety car is on reduced, so I don't know really what's going on there.
A safety car.
But it does. But we do have our second safety car of the race here on lap number 8.
Viprice is coming back with saying he is in AI mode, so I wonder why he's in AI mode. That's very interesting.
Actually, a decent guy. I'm gonna send him invite and get him back in the game if he has disconnected from this one.
Oh no, he's definitely back in the game because he's just cut the chicane.
Okay, well that's good at least. So Moifoli is back, so it's definitely interesting as to what happened there. But the Ferrari is now back in the race. races. Yeah, definitely seems to have that pace back up and is now back in racing. Of course, big mistake there from the Alpine of Jojo means he is down the front wing. And we have another safety car. That's also really struggling right now. He actually under safety car condition, under safety car there. Was at turn 5, no damage done to his car though. Thomas D electing to dive in pit lane. Jojo and Moikuli as well going to dive in. So 3 more drivers electing to pit. The leader Wingish. Most of the leaders elected to stay out as Moikuli.
Oh, it gets even worse for him.
So even more damage to him. Of course, they can, take a look at. Sorry, before it.
Oh, carry on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, taking a look quickly at the kind of position gained and loss tally. Vikrais and Basel with great races so far. They're both up 10 positions. It is with a couple of drivers looking to pit, but still going from towards the back. Going from P16 and P18 up to 6th and 8th. Definitely great races so far. B2B Alley as well, up 5 spots. Gaming James 7, Vaughn and Onur both up 6, so good races from them so far. And then a couple of big losers right now. Jojo, Moikuli, and Wick all started towards the front of the field and are now back towards the bottom.
Yeah, it's very.
We saw most of the field opting to start on those soft compound tires. Most are on either the mediums or the hards now. And of course, many drivers still having to pit yet.
This is definitely interesting to see 2 safety cars caused by front wing damage, but so now everyone is back up to the pack, so we should be getting away this lap.
Yeah, so we'll get back underway here on lap 10. But yeah, I think with these, with this front 4, potentially this front 7, mediums to soft, probably going to be the way to go for them. Of course, it'll be really interesting to see how some of the rest of the order picks their battles, and how this race can to pan out. But of course, as it is right now, it still should be rather interesting. Of course, Wingish still looking rather comfortable under green flag conditions. Of course, was able to stretch that lead up to about a second on the restart. Of course, had a little bit of an advantage from Moikuli seeming to be in AI mode. It seems that everybody back in the race and ready to go. And of course, no DNFs so far, so 18 drivers still in the race. And should be getting underway here at the start of lap number 11.
There we go, safety car in this lap happily. So let's hope no more safety cars come out because of front wing damage.
So of course, gonna have more time to get on the way here. Of course, Wingish once again with control of the pack. Is he gonna take any different strategy? Of course, he definitely enjoys keeping a rather hot pace. Before we get back underway, he's out of the final corner, and we are underway here in Hungary, back to green flag conditions, and got a decent jump on Pingy, who's going to be under threat from Ali as we run down into turn 1. The Mercedes is going to look down the inside, but the Alfa Romeo rather hot on the brakes, and is going to be under threat from the Mercedes now, but twitches from both. Means that Pingy's going to hold on to it. Here comes Oni around the outside, which becomes the inside of the Mercedes. VDV Audi going to fight it, though, but Oni able to take advantage of that mistake from the Mercedes. And jump up into P3, and Wingish just looking to pull away rather quickly from this field.
Yeah, very nice move from the AlphaTauri driver again, making those great moves when it counts.
Of course, very opportunistic there as Alfa Romeo and Mercedes battling rather heavily down in the front. And of course, just tried to make the most of that exit, and potentially just cold tires, really hindering, both. Only just 2 to 3 tenths off the back of the Alfa Romeo now as everybody scrambles through turn 13 into turn 14.
As Vasil gets past Viprise down the inside,
also
Jamie.
Jamie gets past threat from the second Mercedes QDXC, who's looking to get back up into points. As the Red Bulls also swap places. So Vasil with 2 moves in as many corners, which is rather rare here in Hungary, especially under green flag conditions like that. And he's currently up into P5, so great race from the Red Bull so far. Is probably in the battle for driver of the day as QDXC also gets by Owner.
Owner is coming back at him, and I don't think this one's going to be given up very lightly. QDXC is still there. It's going to be a bold one, but it is done before the next corner is done.
Of course, that yellow flag quickly did appear to be Jonah, who looked like one at the exit of turn 1, but is able to get that hash back underway. And Vasil with another move.
Oh, Alfa Romeo, Total Ligo.
Total Ligo goes round, trying to find him. Seems to be okay, but he is out in the wall. That car back underway and is going to rejoin the track. Again, seems to not be any quite visible damage on that car, but rather big shutting there through the turn 5 and 6 chicane. Also, that's I believe Bono. Was that Bono? No, I believe that's
no, it is Bono.
It was Bono dropping down the. A couple of issues there as DRS does get re-enabled, but the gap up to front, 1.7 seconds to the leader. Comes Vasil looking to make another move. He's looking to go down the inside at AlphaTauri into turn 1. They're going to stay side by side. A big little twitch there from the AlphaTauri of Oni, who's now going to hold the inside into turn 2. Can Vasil do anything about it? He's going to keep that car around the outside. Some great battling here, and a twitch from Oni is going to mean that Vasil moves up into the podium positions. A great little battle there from the Red Bull sister teams.
Yeah, this is some very good battling, and there was another move. Well, there was fighting going on back at the back of the pack, and there's still more fighting going on. Viprise trying to fight QDXC.
That was a nice little move from QDXC around the outside into turn 5, and then just was really brave in turn 6 and 7 to get that move done. Of course, Viprise potentially struggling on those older medium compound tires with much fresher tires now surround him. And QDXC looking to pull away.
Jamie's going to send it down the inside.
And he does get that move done. It looks like the Aston Martin potentially looking to fight back, but not quite able to get that done as now the teammates rather close together. They're actually going to make contact there as they meet with final runner. Potentially got a nice big pack here. Meanwhile, Vasil moves up into P2 with the assistance of DRS. That Red Bull absolutely rapid on those hard compound tires. Now is 2 seconds back of the leader. VDV Alley, meanwhile, and Jamie James going side by side. It's going to be the Mercedes holding on for the moment. Doing Jamie as well, able to get the move done on Viprise. Owner looking to go around the outside on the Ferrari. He's going to have the inside to turn 3. Viprise still there though, so they're going to go side by side up the hill into turn 4. Who's going to hold on to it? Still side by side as they make their way into turn 5. 2 by 2, red and green, and look to be a little bit of contact there. Ogres is going to be able to get 2.
Yeah, just that slight contact from the Aston Martin just made Viprise just have to go off track and lose so many places, sadly, for the Ferrari driver.
Of course, he is still at the tail of this pack, but certainly not out of it yet. His teammate, Moy Cooley, looking to make a nice move down the inside at turn 14 on Owner. And once again, we got another Aston Martin and Ferrari going side by side, and it's a very tight fight from P9 down to about P14 as VDV Alley dives into the pit lane. He's looking to get off of those soft compound tires. But yeah, very tight battle here. And good to see them all keep it clean so far.
It's been a very, very good battle currently, but oh, Thomas D just locking up hugely and costing him a place or two because the Alpine is right there behind him.
Yeah, it looks like JoJo not able to get that move done though, as Justin will stay in front. That might be a battle into turn 4 again though, so as they come up the hill, it still will be the Haas holding on. Meanwhile, up the front, that gap between Vasil and Wingish coming down to about 1.3 seconds quickly there. So Vasil with tons of pace so far in that Red Bull, and looking to be really good competition here for the Finn, and is now within DRS range. Some of those soft tires really just falling off a cliff here on lap number 15. Wingish looking to still stay out though, but of course Vasil now going to have DRS. That gap is seeming to hold at about 8 tenths, so Vasil pulling a lot more downforce than Wingish, so that could potentially be some of the advantage as well, as he really pulled that gap a lot closer. At 1, Gaming James looking to defend from Ogos, who's looking to go around the outside. Waits and Owner side by side, and that's the McLaren down the inside into turn 1. The Aston looking to try to fight back, but not quite able to get that done. Meanwhile, up on that battle for P6, Ogos down the inside of the Red Bull of Gaming James, who potentially going to lose 2 positions. Contact between the Ferrari and the Red Bull, that's Moy Cooley and Gaming James. And Gaming James, at least for now, able to hold on to P7. They're running wide there on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, this is some very good racing as we just get past the Red Bull driver. But up front, that gap now 4 tenths.
Yeah, so Vasil seeming to manage those hard tires very nicely, as they really seem to come into their own. Of course, 11 laps old, so certainly could be a challenge to take them to the end. That's a spun Alpha Tauri. That is Oni down in P17. So that's Oni just really struggling. Of course, he pitted recently, and he is on rather new mediums. And Pingy is going to dive into the pits and potentially look for an undercut on Wingish ahead, and so we'll have to see if that can affect his race at all.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I think Pingy was what, 5-6 seconds behind. Oh, as this move maybe.
Right, a little bit of contact. Vasil looking to make a move done into turn 2 or 3. Leader's going to go side by side up the hill into turn 4. Wingish going to give him the squeeze, and for now, Vasil almost had the yield. They're going to be side by side through turn 4. And McLaren still holding the advantage for the second. The Red Bull finally going to have to fall in behind.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking, if Wingish pits now, he will come out ahead of Bono. So he does have that gap. He will be behind Viprise, but ahead of Bono. As Jojo spins out again.
And seemingly able to keep it going now. So will Wingish pull the trigger now? Of course, he has Vasil right on his rear end, and Wingish will now dive into the pit lane. So Vasil, and Vasil's going to follow him. Vasil looking to pit as well, so both leaders dive into the pit lanes here on lap number 17.
This is literally who gets the better pit stop now. As he's already away, but...
stop there from Red Bull.
Oh, that's tight. That is very tight.
As Owner out of the race, that's a retirement.
In the pit lane.
Owner out is going to be our first retirement from the race. That's by decision as well, so we're gonna keep underway. Jojo as well electing to pit. He'll retire from the race as well. So it's lap number 18, and we got our first 2 retirements of the race. And QDXC now leads, and a very tight battle for P2. Jamie and Mo Cooley go side by side. The Ferrari to the inside as they make their way into turn number, I believe that's 4. And who's going to have the edge as they make their way? I believe it is going to be Moy Cooley, who is going to move up into P3 ahead of that Alpine.
Yeah, this is very, very good stuff. So, now, when do these guys decide to pick? Because they'll be getting to that time where these tyres are getting quite old now. But can Moit stick it out?
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Red Bull of Gaming James go out. The Alpine, I'm not sure if you're seeing the Alpine like I am.
It's now gone.
Actually, no, never mind. It is now gone, right as QDXC and the leaders come on the pit straight. Of course, got a little bit of advantage of the cars behind. That's a spun Alfa Romeo. That is Joe Ligo. But Ogo's, up into P2, and a couple of drivers really showing out on debut. Of course, Wingish now over prize. That's a virtual safety car. That's for Oni, who spun and lost the front wing. So good to see. So virtual safety car is out. And so that'll allow a couple of drivers to get 3 pit stops. Dodo Ligo going to retire from the session, as I think will Oni. So a bunch of drivers retiring from the race at this point. But the virtual safety car is going to allow a couple of drivers to potentially extend their stints. Moy Cooley, in particular, could be in a good spot, as might Waits in 3rd and 5th on much newer hard compound tires. But I wouldn't be surprised to see drivers such as Gaming James, potentially Goon Jamie, dive pit lane here if they can get all the way around with virtual.
This will help a few people, but it won't. It won't help very much. It might bring the pack back together if the guys in the front do pit now, because no, it is now back to green flag racing. So we are not going to have a VSC for very long then.
So able to get back racing. Of course, about 16 laps left to go, and Gaming James still electing to stay out on those rather old medium compound tires. So we'll see how long he continues to stay out. But meanwhile, the battle of the 2 leaders, Wingish and Vasel, P8 and P9, it's going to catch that pack ahead of him. As that pack about 3 seconds clear as of right now. Yellow flag in sector 2. That is for that is for Oni.
Oni.
Yeah, it's for Oni, who's really struggling right now. I'm not sure what's going on there with that Alpha Tauri. He's actually going to cut the chicane there. But I think just about out of this race. I think just, really struggling. Potentially some significant damage at this point, so certainly interesting to see there. But the leaders all now, with now all the leaders, that front 3 do have time penalties. And Wingish and Vasel, meanwhile, have closed up rather quickly to this pack for 7th.
Yeah, this is going to be very important. Can Wingish get ahead of these guys and put these guys ahead of his rival, as Thomas just making it a little bit harder for the McLaren.
He is going to get it done, though, and so both him and Vasel are going to look to pin Thomas to the inside. Vasel looking to not lose any time to the car ahead, and they're both up and past one Red Bull as Gaming James dives in the pit, as well as Thomas.
Yeah, Wingish has DRS. Now, it's going to be Wingish and John Wick versus Vasel. Will Vasel help? Not Vasel. Will John Wick help his teammate maybe slow down the Red Bull driver here?
First, we'll have to see what happens there. Of course, that yellow flag for the retired Oni, retirement of the race is Bono, and as Viper Eyes comes out of the pit lane, as well as Gaming James on a fresh set of soft tires. So they're probably looking to go to the end here as we start lap number 21.
So his teammate does get out of the way, but does not get out of the way of the Red Bull driver. There's a little slight contact.
He's looking to still get that move done. Seemingly clean enough, though, but that has allowed Wingish to pull a gap of the back end. So we'll have to see if Vasel can close that up as they make their way into the DRS zone. And as of right now, it looks like he will. But almost a great little play there from the 2 McLarens to get a breakup of these 2 probable front runners as this race continues.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close now with these 6 drivers. A few of them have pitted, but they may have to pit once again. Because I don't know if these tyres will go to the end.
I think definitely Moy Cooley has the best chance as we go around the outside of Thomas as they make it through turn 1 and is able to make that move stick. But yeah, I think Moy Cooley definitely has the best shot of making it to the end. But I think, Ogres and QDXC trying to take those hard compound tires effectively 29 laps from the time they slap them on. Even with the extra safety car and with the virtual safety car, certainly going to prove a challenge as their pace really going to struggle as Wingish and Vasel already to the tail, really to the tail of those pack leaders. And Wingish really looking to get them moved on, and he's actually going to run wide off the circuit and is still going to go side by side with Balloon Jamie and is going to get that done. But comes Red Bull, also looking to go down the outside. A little bit of contact there. A tap on the rear end from Galoon Jamie, but everybody looking to hold on. And Vasel able to get them moved on Galoon Jamie as well.
So straight away, that Red Bull driver just getting past every single person as soon as Wingish does as well. So that man does not want to let him out of his sights because he could get the win here if there's a simple, slight mistake.
Of course, Vasel really using that, the karting strategy of, just kind of holding with that driver of similar pace. Now, and just, making your advantage because as that McLaren is compromising other drivers' lines, it makes it so much easier for Vasel to get a move done as he can just follow that McLaren straight through. And especially on a tight track like this where there's not a ton of room to operate, if somebody gets off of that racing line, definitely can, Vasel can make that heads-up play and slide that Red Bull right into position.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting here now because this is getting probably to that part where these guys are having those tyres get slower, but these are the front runners at the moment. Let's see what Wingish and Vasel can do as Pingu gets past John Wick.
That's in the run down into P14, so the Alfa Romeo up into P8. But Wingish right on the back of the Ferrari of Moikuli. He's going to look on the inside rather early. Of course, both cars with the arrest, but the McLaren is through. Moikuli looking to potentially fight back. And Vasel looking to just go down the inside again. And Vasel once again taking advantage and just sticking that Red Bull right where it needs to be to keep with Wingish.
Yeah, it's working very, very well, but it's not working well enough for Wingish because he needs at least a car to just disrupt that Red Bull driver. Otherwise, it could go to the wire this race.
Of course, Oga's looking to potentially hold him off a little bit. Going to go a little bit defensive as they make their way into turns 5 and 6 as Pingu receives a 3-second time penalty. Look how tight those cars are. You got 4 cars all within about half a second, and that's pretty much nose to tail at the speed that you're carrying around the Hungary ring. And Wingish looking really impatient to get that move done here on Oga's.
Yeah, and QDXC making a little slight mistake, so that makes that Aston Martin even closer. So this could be a 4-way battle down into turn 1.
Vasel almost the inside out of that penultimate corner. But yeah, 4 cars nose to tail into turn 1 for the lead. QDXC going to go defensive very early. Wingish past Oga's. He's out at ERS though, so he's really struggling. QDXC goes very defensive. Wingish though going to look around the outside of the Mercedes. Of course, he is going to have a second helping of DRS. And as they on the hill, it is the McLaren with the lead and the inside. The Red Bull's still there though, and looking to once again make that move down the inside. And it's Vasel down the inside of QDXC, and it's Wingish and Vasel 1-2 once again.
Yeah, very nice move from the McLaren and Red Bull drivers again. Again, that Red Bull driver just making his car there, so he's not letting that McLaren go.
Of course, jumping on board really quickly with the Red Bull. If you take a look at that ERS meter, it's at about 20 to 30%, give or take. Can't tell exactly. But if you jump ahead to the McLaren of range, if you notice as he kind of drives by continuously, that red light is flashing at the back of Wingish's car. I mean, he's got to use a lot of ERS in order to try and stay out in front, and that could put him at massive risk, potentially losing the win here in Hungary.
Wingish is on 16% battery, whilst Vasel is on 40%.
Of course, that gap currently at just under 6/10. And of course, they're on the same age compounded tires, so now it's really going to come down to setup for who has the advantage. Green Jamie finally dived into the pit lane to get off those medium compound tires, so we'll have to see where he comes back at. It looks like he'll come out at P9 or P10.
As he comes out behind Bono in P11.
That'll be P11, actually. So we'll have to see. I just imagine on those fresh softs will have a bit of an advantage. Meanwhile, battle for P3 is still rather hefty here. PFC still managing to hold off Ogres and Moikoli behind him for the moment. Of course, all drivers with penalties right now, but it's PXC and Ogres with 3 and Moikoli with 5 seconds. But penalties for most of the order as of right now. There's just none for either of our leaders.
Yeah, it's either that one slight mistake from Wingish and it could all be over for him and the win could go to Vasil, or Vasil is just that much quicker down that main straight with that battery increase.
Of course, he has battery and DRS. Meanwhile, we were talking about that move, Jamie. Back up into the points. That was actually a move into the chicane of turns 5 to 6. So probably a good move to get done there. That are rather opportunistic. But the gap up the front is sitting at about 4/10. So Vasil sticking with Wingish. Is he just kind of trying to hold off for the moment, trying to make Wingish continue to deploy some ERS, potentially to make that move with a lap or so to go, and just give Wingish no chance to fight back.
Yeah, it's gonna be very. Unless Wingish can get back his ERS, he still hasn't. He's still on 19, 20%, where Vasil is now up to 50%. So, still, Vasil is in this advantage at the moment with that DRS as well.
Yeah, and I think that DRS is one of the big reasons that Wingish has had to maybe deploy a little bit more ERS than he'd like. Of course, Wingish does have probably a little bit of a straight line speed advantage compared to Vasil. But of course, that DRS is going to really nullify that. Wingish wants to kind of continue to have that advantage, as it sounds like James is the one to spill a drink this time, as opposed to me. But as we start lap number 28, that gap at about 6/10.
Yeah, the gap just staying within 3/10. He's not able to make that move done, but he's staying there within that gap of maybe getting that move done or applying that pressure that Wingish could make that small mistake just by going wide ever so lightly.
And of course, we saw battles like this in the early stages of both Australia and Zandvoort. Of course, since our winter break, it was really just Wingish able to find enough pace at bay. So and both times it was Moikoli who of course currently down in P5 and going for that alternate strategy. But the gap sitting at about 5/10 right now, a little bit closer than it has been through that middle sector. So Vasil going to maybe try and turn up the heat a little bit. And try to get that move done.
Yeah, this is going to be another, if he can get the better line out of this final corner, and I don't think he has. He had a little bit of a slide through the final corner, but DRS wide open, ERS being used probably just down to 4 attempts, can't get it.
Yeah, and just honest, he's still right there. So how much is Vasil holding off, if at all? Is he trying to make, Wingish, how much is either driver pushing, really? When is Vasil gonna, does Vasil have the time at this point to get the move done, as we have laps to go next time we cross the line? Meanwhile, a little bit more towards the back, QDXC still managing to hold off Ogas for P3. Of course, Moikoli still there in the background as Bono has retired from the session. That is also in the pit lane, so there's another DNF. But of course, definitely keep an eye on E3, P4, as all three drivers potentially at risk for punctures as this race continues. It's 23 laps on QDX and Ogas' tires. and 20 laps on Moikuli's. Now as well, keep an eye on an Alfa Romeo Pingy, who's now showing up to the party. And of course, he's got, I believe, about 6 seconds of time penalties right now, if I were to guess. Actually, no, he's only got 3 seconds, so he's potentially in a great spot now on only 12 lap leaders. So he could be the same lap as our a lap before our 2 leaders, rather. So we're going to start lap number 30 here. And he's right up to the tail. Meanwhile, that gap up at the front, still half a second. It's really just on that exit of turn 2 where Wings just seems to be... Vasel manages to pull it back a little bit, but it's the exit of turn 15 and 16 really, and the exit of turn 1 where Wings just seems to have that slight edge and is able to stay out in front.
Yeah, just gonna say as well now, Pingy also getting in on this battle now, so he's going to be a much quicker driver against these three. So let's see what can he do from 6th place. Can he get up into the podium places, or can QDXC just?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Vasel now seemingly, it's Vasel and Wingish both saving a lot of ERS. Both drivers now up to about 50%. So that ERS advantage that Vasel had is pretty much lost. Neither driver seeming to deploy much overtake as we come down the pit straight. Though the gap coming all the way down to about 0.3 of a second. And the drivers are still rather close together. But again, it's just Wingish making that slight getaway. But the gap is closer than it's been. Pingy, meanwhile, goes down the inside in a turn 1 and a P5 for the moment, but he'll be side by side with the Ferrari as they run down into turn 2. He is going to try to go the long way around the outside, and of course as they come to turn 3, he is going to have that inside. He is going to have space, a little bit of contact here and there, but it is going to be the Ferrari still with the edge. So Moikuli able to defend from Pingy here on lap number 31. Green Jamie, though, able to get the move done. He goes around the outside into turn 3 and gets up into P8. So, some good driving there. Of course, he came out of his pit stop in P11, so he's making moves as this race continues. But that gap up at the front now is opened back up to about 7/10. So it just, does Wingish just have enough time now in the bank to be able to hold off Vasel?
I think he has now with that ERS back and not much of an advantage to Wiesel. I think Wiesel has his best shot as soon as these two got away from the rest of the pack, and Wingage just had nothing to use.
Well, Space is still keeping him honest. So still, and there's still 4 laps of racing left to go as the leaders make their way through turn 3. So still lots of time for Vasel to potentially get that move. But to try to get aggressive and go on that attack is going to be the question. Moiko actually going to run really wide, and he's actually going to go out and hit the wall. And that Ferrari is round. What is that? That Ferrari ran very wide there. Seemingly just about able to keep it going, though. But Moiko running very wide down at turn 3, and he's going to drop well down the order. Is that a puncture, potentially, on the Ferrari? Because he's really struggling to get that car on track. At least no visual confirmation yet of the puncture, but he's really, really struggling now.
Yeah, he's not had the greatest of races today, but it seems like he has more damage, and there's a bit more contact with JV, and just loses 2 more positions.
He ran a little bit wide down through turn 3. I'm not sure if it was due to contact or just not managing tire wear quite well enough. As the gap up the front comes down to just about 3 to 4/10. But it might have been a puncture. Of course, we'll have to see if there's damage on that Ferrari. Does he dive into the pit lane here? Yes, he will. So potentially a puncture, maybe on that. There at least doesn't seem to be any visual confirmation of a puncture on that Ferrari. But of course, he's going to drop likely out of the points at this point in the race. So definitely disappointing from Moikuli.
Very disappointing race from him. I think since that First safety car, I think it was when he went into AI mode, everything just started to fall down. Viprice having a problem because there was yellow flags for him. I think he's had a little bit of a spin.
Yeah, I don't know what quite happened there, but of course he's able to keep that car moving. Back up the front is still closer as we're going to cross the line. It is going to be 2 laps to go, but Wingish, it's we're able to get so much time. And that got now up to 7/10, and so now Vasil gonna have to look to start pushing, and now it's actually the McLaren with the ERS advantage by about 10 to 15% over the Red Bull behind as we hit 2 to go. As we keep an eye on this battle for the lead, definitely keep an eye on that battle for P3 as well, as QDXC and Ogus on very old hard compound tires. Pingy as well, probably approaching puncture range, as his medium is now 17 laps old. So keep an eye on that as that continues. With 2 laps to go, is it going to end in pain for either the Mercedes, the Aston Martin, or potentially even that Alfa Romeo behind them?
Could go any way right now. Wiesel is 7/10 behind, and he went wide through that 2 corners ago, so that Red Bull might be pushing us slightly a bit more, but still that gap still at 6/10, and he's just not able to get closer.
Of course, 1 to go, so now it's going to be make or break time for the Red Bull. He's going to be trying to dump everything into this as we start lap number 35, and that gap just not coming down to McLaren ahead, down to about 5/10, 4.5 tenths as they make their way to turn 1. So he's got probably 1 or 2 more chances to make a move for the win, but gap half a second. The ring is just keeping him behind on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, this battle is getting very heated as well for P3. This is their last chance to try.
Vasil's out of ERS, that red light flashing in the back, and that's a big rear lock and slide, and that could be your race, as Vasil there with a mistake through P5. Hingy as well, able to get the move done. Okas runs wide. Is that a puncture on the Aston Martin?
I think it is, yes. It is a front
right puncture for the Aston Martin.
Again, this was the thing that I said before. Are these going to be able to make it to the end? Ogres just wasn't able to, so now a few other people have to start worrying about their hard tires.
And of course, here comes Wingish, end up out of the final corner. Vasil kept on him throughout the entirety of that second stint. But once again, it's Wingish coming home to take the win for McLaren. It's Vasil on his LSR debut with a great race to finish P2. On the line here, is QDXC's tires going to hold out for 1 more corner? The Mercedes is going to hold on to P3 and will take the final step on the podium. Hingy will finish 4th. VDV Ali manages to come home to finish 5th. Gurun Jamie with a great race after the pit stops. He'll come out of the final corner to finish P6. That's Waits with a spin out of the final corner, so is he going to hold on? That will be Gaming James in 7th. And I think confirmed now after the penalty, Waits is going to come home, at least as it seems, to finish P8. Here comes Thomas out of the final corner now. He'll finish P9 for Haas. Oga's, meanwhile, really struggling. And they out of the points and out of contention as Joner is going to find a way around. Here comes Moy Cooley. Is he going to be able to steal the point? That's going to be side by side to the line. The Haas going to go all the way to the wall, but Joner able to hold on to the final point scoring position and hold off Moy Cooley by less than 1/10 of a second.
And Viprice comes into the pit lane on the last lap.
Yeah, of course, some great racing there seen today at the Hungaroring. Of course, congratulations to our winner, and Vasil, I think, very deserving of that driver of the day, as he had a great race there. Corby McLaren again on the top step, and of course, some great racing there. And of course, plenty of decisions to look back on. could Vasel have been, potentially better, gone on the offensive after it became a two-horse race for the lead? Was there better decisions, but it is the Finn once again on the top step.
After
So
what
yeah, it
was a
is going to
very
be
interesting race.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And, tons of battles. It was good to see it clean throughout as well. Yes, that was great to see. Of course, it is Rangashir winner, followed by Vasil, QDXC, Pingy, VDV Ali, Gordon Jamie, Gaming James, John Wick, and then the Haas duo round out the points. No extra point for fast lap as Moy Cooley finishing out of the points there. So he sadly will not get that fast lap point. But yeah, all in all, I think that was a great race.
It was a very good race, and so many battles up and down the field, so it was really good to see.
And good to see it remain at least relatively clean as well. Of course, we will be back tomorrow with Group 2 action, also around the Hungary. A very interesting race, so definitely into that. James, I don't know if you want to say anything to sign off.
I've not got anything to say.
All right, well, yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.